Now to the stepmom murder trial. Letitia Stout says she will not testify, and Colorado prosecutors say there is no rebuttal case. What does this mean? It means that tomorrow the defense is scheduled to rest and closing arguments then begin. They're dark today, but we have an opportunity then to go live to Colorado Springs at our own Court TV legal correspondent, Julia Janae. And Julia, I know though right now you are actually in the area, the neighborhood where Gannon lived when he was reported missing. Tell us about that.
That's right, Judge Ashley. We are here at the Lorson Ranch subdivision. This is where he lived with his father, Al Stout, his stepmother, who's on trial for his murder, Letitia Stout, and his two sisters. This is where the community was looking for him, wanting to know where he was back in January of 2020. And what's amazing is 3.5 years later, and we are still seeing messages like this one behind me in front of the subdivisions. I'm going to put up this sign that simply says "Justice for Gannon," and it shows the blue lettering that has become synonymous with him in this area. There's been a call for people to put blue lights in front of their house in honor of Gannon and what's going on in his case, because right now we're winding down in the trial. There have been other moments where the town has painted itself blue, essentially, and it's been for the anniversary of his death or when he was missing and people were looking for him. But we're seeing today this is still marking a moment. I can tell you there are people in this community who are invested in attending this trial. I've been inside of the courtroom, which is about 12 miles away from this location, and they have been reacting to what they are hearing inside the courtroom. We had some big moments yesterday, in particular hearing this defendant's voice on that jail interview when her psychiatry expert, Dorothy Lewis, shared video of an interview last year with the defendant. And we heard for the first time this transition between her alleged alters, these multiple personalities that she says she has. Take a listen to one that is named Maria. She's a protector. We have heard that she has a Russian dialect. That's something that has been purported by this defense. But this is one particular clip of sound where she's Maria, but we don't quite hear the accent. Take a listen.
Understand why I'm always being asked what is going on in here, because this is my job to do things for people and to protect them. Yeah. Because it's what I have to do. That is who are the protector. I'm going to always do that, because if people are molesting kids and people are hurting kids, this is what I do for them. And if people are inside your home or inside my home, I'm going to protect them. Do you understand that?
We've heard a lot about dissociative identity disorder throughout this trial, but really yesterday was the first time we were seeing it play out in front of us, those split personalities from Letitia Stout and how she sounds within those that are a big part of her defense.
All right, so tell us the next piece of this, because I know that the prosecution actually questioned the expert. How come Maria came out when you, defense expert Dr. Lewis, spoke to her, but Maria did not come out when the defendant spoke to the state psychiatrist? How did Dr. Lewis explain this?
You know, she was very cool and calm on the stand. She did not get too flustered with a lot of the questions that were really tough that Prosecutor Dave Young lofted at her, especially about why Maria acted a certain way or why the defense attorney was there inside of the room when she was doing this interview. But she answered it saying that she used a technique, that she speaks to these alters in a very respectful way, and she asks permission for one to come. Here's a listen to how she gets one of the alters, whose name is Taylor, to introduce her or allow Maria to come and speak directly with her.
I'm trying to bring him back to life. And when he didn't come back to life, who would be the protector? Oh, my protector is Maria. Maria, I would like very much to talk with you. If you want to talk to Maria, I don't know, sometimes she'll talk, sometimes she won't. Tell me, where is the station you go when, say, Maria's in I like to go hang out and drink some wine and be by the beach and hang out with Tyler. Well, I would like to go there And what we found was Maria. And yeah. But now I'm like, we're in a special place, and Maria, I need to talk to. Because Maria, you have a lot of control. What? Is that correct? I think she does.
Now, Maria eventually did come out and talk to Dr. Lewis there on that video. I noticed when Letitia Stout was portraying or was being Maria that she seemed to sit up a bit straighter, that her arms were turned in, and she referenced that she had muscles to the doctor in the conversation. And she also talked about the night that Gannon was killed.
All you do is grab the gun. And what happened? You saw someone who looked like they were in the tape, and I tried them. That's what I did. Okay? All you did is grab. You don't understand. I had to protect the people that were in the house. Okay? Because if someone was in the home, they were going to rape someone, they were going to molest them, they were going to kill them. I had to protect them. All I did. Okay? And I fired the gun. I did not know, didn't have a safety. I didn't know any of that, but that's what I do. I'm trained to do that. Okay? You're trained to kill. Okay? You're trained to kill. That's what I do. I'm trained to kill. I'm trained to kill. That's what I do. Trained to kill. Okay? That's what I do. I kill for a living. Okay? Anyone that tries to hurt someone, I'm trained to kill. Okay? That hurts anyone or nobody. That hurts the people that I care about. Okay? So you kill. Yes. Yeah, that hurts. You didn't care. Yes. And that's what I did. I took the gun, I fired the gun at someone. They had a cape on, they looked like a dangerous man.
So you heard there a bit more of that accent, that dialect that we've been hearing about, Ashley, but that's what this jury heard for the majority of the time on Wednesday.
All right, let's ask about what the prosecutors are arguing, because of course they're saying Stout is faking her symptoms. So really the big question is, could the defendant, Letitia Stout, actually be fooling Dr. Lewis? She's a Harvard graduate. She's a very highly esteemed psychiatrist. And I have to share with you, Julia, because you know I love looking at social media. You do a lot on social media. There was a comment, and this was from Twitter, on Twitter from Digby. Sorry, but Dr. Dorothy Lewis sounds like she's somewhere over the rainbow. Letitia Stout isn't suffering from DID or any other mental illness. She is simply a cold-hearted, self-centered killer. So, Julia, you've been watching the jury, and do you have any insight about how they're actually reacting, or how they have been reacting, rather, to the testimony of Dr. Lewis?
Most of them were receptive to listening to her, to taking notes. I did notice two men, though, one man in particular who seemed to do a lot of squinting at her and then stretching his eyes at certain points as if he found it to be a bit hard to believe. Another man who just seemed to stare her down, slowly twirling a pen, not taking any notes. But overall, it seems that they are weighing this, and we know some insight into what they are thinking because we get those questions at the end of the testimony. And yesterday, one of those had to do with malingering. They wanted to know from this doctor whether or not she tested Letitia Stout to see if she was feigning her symptoms or if she was malingering. And the doctor's response was that this is not a well-documented, meaning malingering phenomena, that you can't really determine scientifically if someone is malingering. But she said she did do tests on Letitia Stout to determine if she was malingering or not, and her opinion was that she is truly suffering from this disorder, or that her symptoms are consistent with it. She didn't go so far as to say that she would diagnose her with it, because she said that's still open. There are more tests that need to be done.
Oh, it's fascinating. No diagnosis, but also to hear her say, on one hand, we can't scientifically determine whether or not someone's malingering, but on the other hand, I believe what she's telling me is true. I believe she has these alters. This case is fascinating. I'm so glad, Julia, that you are there, able to bring all of the details to us. Thank you for joining us this hour. Still with us now, attorney law professor Dante Mills. First of all, let me get your general reaction to everything we've been watching. Dr. Lewis is the expert, saying, yes, she has these alters and she was insane at the time she did kill Gannon. versus what some of our viewers saying of, don't believe her, Letitia Stout is guilty.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna look at the camera, and I'm gonna squint and shake my head. I'm not buying it. And I'll tell you why. She exaggerates. And that's a part of her plan and her cover-up. If you look at the cover-up to the murder, after she shot him, he was stabbed, he was stuffed in a suitcase, she went overboard in extreme. And she's doing the same thing with these characters. She has a Russian character, or her guardian or protector has a Russian accent and is a trained killer. I mean, it's textbook, but it's extreme. And I think she believes if I go crazy enough, or if I be extreme enough, people will say, oh, there must be something wrong with her. Or, in the sense of the killing, if I stab him, shoot him, do all of that, people will say, well, maybe somebody else did have something to do with this. That's her personality. And I think she's trying to get over on it, but it's not happening, and I don't think the jury is buying it. I think it's a very tough sell because she slips up from time to time. During part of the interview, her Russian protector did not have an accent.